My name is Nita E. George. I'm 28, and until last Friday night, I thought I was in a 3-year relationship with a man I lived with, planned with, and supported in ways I didn't even fully realize until everything went quiet. We'd been together just over 3 years and living together a little more than one. Shared apartment, shared routines, shared life, or at least that's what I thought. That night, he had a few friends over after work. I got home later than usual because I stayed to finish a project I didn't want to interrupt, so I kept my head down, kicked off my shoes quietly, and went straight to the bedroom to change. That's when I heard it. They were in the living room laughing, wine glasses clinking. Someone asked something about us, about me, and my boyfriend laughed. Not his normal laugh, the sharp one he only used with friends. She's basically just a roommate, he said. I'm still single. More laughter. Someone joked about free rent. Someone else said, must be nice. He didn't correct them. He leaned into it. She's good for now, he added. Pays the bills. Doesn't ask questions. I stood there frozen, staring at the laundry basket like it had personally betrayed me. My chest didn't explode. It went calm, like something shut off instead of breaking. For context, I paid the rent. Utilities, groceries, his car insurance after he fell behind, streaming services, random online orders that somehow always ended up on my card. He always joked that I was stable and he was figuring things out. I thought that was teamwork. Apparently, it was sponsorship. I didn't storm out. I didn't confront him. I sat on the edge of the bed and listened to them laugh for 5 more minutes just to be sure I'd heard it right. That night, he came into the bedroom tipsy and annoyed that I hadn't come out to say hi. Asked why I was being weird. I said I was tired. He rolled his eyes, called me boring, and passed out scrolling on his phone. I didn't sleep. By morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do. Saturday morning felt unreal, like I was moving through someone else's life with my hands instead of my heart. He woke up late, hungover, complaining about his head, asking if we had any ibuprofen. I handed it to him without a word. He smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, "You're the best." That almost made me laugh. Once he left for brunch with the same friend he'd been laughing with the night before, I got to work. I didn't rage pack. I didn't throw things into trash bags like in movies. I moved slowly and methodically, like this was just another task I'd put off too long. Clothes first, the ones I actually wore, not the outfits he'd picked because he thought my style needed fixing. Old hoodies, work jeans, boots, each folded neatly, like I was proving something to myself. Then my desk, laptop, external hard drive, documents. I found receipts I'd kept out of habit, rent confirmations, utility payments, the deposit I covered when we moved in because he didn't have it yet. Funny how that never came back. With every box, the apartment looked less like ours and more like a set I'd been financing. Most of the furniture was technically mine too, but I left it. I didn't want debates. I wanted clean lines, no leverage, no negotiations. Around noon, I opened my banking apps. I removed him as an authorized user on my credit card. Canceled the streaming services. Scheduled the rent payment cancellation for the next month. Utilities too. His car insurance. The phone bill I'd been helping with. Done. Each tap was quiet. Final. I wasn't draining accounts. I wasn't being reckless. I was just stopping the role I'd been playing without realizing it was unpaid labor. I wrote the note last. I stared at the blank page longer than I expected. I didn't want drama. I didn't want to sound angry or wounded or like I was trying to win, so I kept it simple. I overheard you last night. You said I was just a roommate. I agree. Roommates don't pay for each other's lifestyles. I've moved out and canceled everything I was covering. You'll need to handle things from here. Take care. I left it on the kitchen counter, right where he dropped his keys every day. When I closed the door behind me, there was no big emotional moment. No tears, just relief. Like I'd been holding my breath for months without realizing it. He didn't even know yet. That was the strangest part. I was halfway to my sister's place when my phone started buzzing. First call ignored. Second call ignored. Then texts stacking up on my lock screen. Where are you? Why is the Wi-Fi not working? Did you seriously cancel Netflix? I pulled over at a gas station just to breathe. Not because I wanted to reply, but because I could feel the shift happening. The moment where confusion turns into panic. The moment the joke stops being funny. I didn't answer. An hour later, my sister helped me carry boxes into her spare room. She didn't ask many questions, just said, "You can stay as long as you need." Like it was the most normal thing in the world. That alone told me I'd done the right thing. By evening, he'd read the note. I knew because my phone lit up like it was possessed. Calls, voicemails, texts swinging wildly between tones. What the hell is this note? Are you being serious right now? This is so immature, Anita. You're really going to abandon me over a joke. That one almost got me. Almost. Then came the follow-up. I can't even log into the electric account. There it was. Not I'm sorry. Not I crossed a line. Just inconvenience. Just logistics. I replied once. One sentence. You said I was just a roommate. I'm treating it that way. He called immediately. I didn't answer. 30 minutes later, the voicemail came through. His voice sounded different. Less sharp, more frantic. Nita, okay, I get that you're upset, but this is extreme. You can't just cut everything off. I have rent due. I didn't mean it like that. They were joking. You know how they are. I sat on the edge of the bed, phone in my hand, feeling strangely steady. He wasn't apologizing for what he said. He was panicking because reality had arrived faster than he expected. Another text came in right after. Can you at least cover this month and then we'll talk? That was the moment. Not the night I overheard him. Not the packing, not the note. The moment I realized he didn't see me as a partner who'd been hurt. He saw me as a safety net that had suddenly disappeared. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. By Sunday morning, the confusion was gone. The anger took over. I woke up to a paragraph-long text that read like a performance review. I can't believe you'd do this without talking to me first. This is financial manipulation. You're trying to control me because you're insecure. That one actually made me smirk. The irony was impressive. He followed it with, my friends think this is a huge red flag, by the way. Of course they did. The same friends who laughed about me being just a roommate had no issue with the lights staying on and the fridge staying full. The second I acted accordingly, I became the villain. Around noon, he showed up at my sister's place unannounced. I wasn't home, thank God. She texted me, your ex is here, he's furious. I asked what he said. She replied, he wants to talk like adults. Also called you cheap in the same sentence. Later, another voicemail came through. He was pacing. I could hear it in his breathing. This is insane. You're really going to blow up a 3-year relationship over something I said to my friends. Everyone vents. You're acting like I cheated or something. You're not innocent either. You like being needed. There it was. The rewrite. I liked paying his bills. I liked being minimized. I liked being invisible as long as I was useful. What he didn't realize was that the moment he said roommate, he'd already ended it. I just happened to hear the part he thought was private. By evening, the tone shifted again. Can you come back so we can talk face to face? Not heartbreaking, not painful, embarrassing. I imagined him explaining to the landlord why the rent didn't clear, explaining to his friends why brunches and rides and little conveniences suddenly stopped, explaining why the roommate joke wasn't funny anymore. That night, I blocked his number. Not out of spite. Out of necessity, because I knew if I let the conversation continue, he'd negotiate, guilt, twist, convince me to cover one more month just to be fair. And I was done being fair to someone who never saw me as equal. Monday was the first day it really hit him. I know because he emailed me. An actual email, subject line and all, like we were coworkers instead of people who used to share a bed. Subject, we need to handle this responsibly. He wrote that the rent payment must have glitched, that the landlord had reached out, that utilities were showing past due notices, that he hadn't realized how much I was handling, that this was overwhelming. Still no apology. He framed it like a group project where one person suddenly stopped pulling their weight without warning. I didn't respond. By Tuesday, mutual friends started reaching out, mostly his side. People I'd been polite to but never close with. He's really stressed. He didn't mean it like that. You know how he jokes. Funny how everyone understood his words except the person they were about. One friend suggested I be the bigger person and at least cover half the rent until things settled. I asked if he planned to start treating me like a girlfriend again in exchange. No reply. That afternoon, I found out he tried to reverse some of the canceled payments. He couldn't. Everything was in my name, always had been. He just never noticed or never cared. The real turning point came that night when my sister showed me something on her phone, a screenshot someone had sent her. He'd posted on his private story, when women can't handle jokes and decide to financially punish you instead. Upside down smiley face. That was it. No sadness, no lingering doubt, just a clean snap inside me, like the last loose thread finally broke. I didn't feel angry anymore. I felt embarrassed for him, because anyone watching closely could see what was really happening. The laughter stopped when the money did, and for the first time since all of this started, I slept through the night. By Wednesday, the silence broke in a different way. A text slipped through from a number I didn't recognize. No greeting, no explanation, just fear, stripped of attitude. Please don't do this like this. No punctuation, no performance, just panic. I didn't answer. A few hours later, another message followed. I talked to the landlord. If rent isn't paid by Friday, there will be late fees. I can't cover all of it right now. There it was again. Numbers, deadlines, consequences. Still no I'm sorry. Still no acknowledgement of what he'd done. Just the expectation that I would step back in because I always had. Later, through a mutual acquaintance, I found out what the last 2 days had looked like for him. Calling his parents, asking friends if they could spot him a little, selling clothes online he'd bought with my card and barely worn. The same friends who laughed Friday night had gone quiet. Turns out still single doesn't come with utilities. That evening, he showed up at my sister's place again. This time, he cried. She told me later that he kept repeating the same sentence. I didn't think she'd actually leave. Not that he was wrong, not that he'd crossed a line, just that he hadn't expected consequences. He asked if I'd come back, just until he got on his feet, just until his next paycheck, just until things felt balanced again, just until forever. For the first time, I felt completely detached, like I was hearing about someone else's problem. I told my sister to tell him no and to stop coming by. That night, I deleted old photos off my phone, trips I paid for, dinners I planned, moments that felt real at the time but looked different now, with context. I realized something uncomfortable but freeing. He didn't lose me when I left. He lost me the moment he stopped respecting me. He just didn't expect to feel it so fast. Friday came whether he was ready or not. I didn't hear about it directly from him. I heard about it through silence. No more angry texts. No more guilt wrapped as concern. Just nothing. That told me more than any apology could have. Late that afternoon, I checked my email again. There was one from him. Short this time. I paid what I could. I don't know what I'm going to do. I read it twice and felt nothing. No urge to fix it. No pull to step back in. Just distance. That night, my sister and I sat on her balcony with cheap takeout and quiet air. She asked me if I was okay. Really okay. I thought about it longer than I expected. I think I am, I said, and I meant it. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't bracing myself. I wasn't waiting for the next expense, the next favor, the next way I'd have to prove my worth by being useful. He messaged again around midnight. I never thought you'd walk away like this. I typed a response, deleted it, typed another, deleted that too. What I wanted to say was that I didn't walk away. I was pushed out the moment I became a joke, but he wouldn't hear that. So I said nothing. Saturday morning, I woke up to something unexpected. He'd changed his tone online. No vague memes, no bitterness. Just a long caption about growth, hard lessons, and learning who really supports you when things get tough. A photo of coffee on a balcony I'd paid for. Comments were split. Some people hyped him up. Some asked quiet questions. A few said nothing at all. What he didn't say was that the support had been automatic, not mutual, that it disappeared the second he laughed about it. Around noon, he messaged me again. Can we just talk? Not about money, about us. That was new, and too late. I agreed to meet. Public place, a coffee shop near my sister's place. He showed up dressed carefully. Softer, less sharp. The version of him that knew how to pull sympathy without asking outright. He started with tears. Said he felt blindsided. Said he didn't realize how dependent things had become. Said his friends exaggerated everything and he'd been trying to fit in. I listened without interrupting. Then I asked one question. Why didn't you correct them when you called me a roommate? He opened his mouth, closed it, looked down. I didn't think you'd hear it, he said. That answer told me everything. Not that he didn't mean it, not that it was a joke, just that I wasn't supposed to know my place. I stood up before he could pivot. I'm not mad, I said. I'm just done. He reached for my hand. I stepped back. As I walked out, I felt light. Not victorious, not smug, just finished. And for the first time since I met him, I knew I wasn't walking away from something good. I was walking back to myself. The fallout didn't end there. It just got quieter. Over the next week, I heard about him in fragments, extra shifts, rethinking priorities, the apartment suddenly feeling too expensive. Funny how it only started feeling that way after I left. He tried one last angle, an email late Sunday night. I get it now. I really do. I was careless with your feelings. I took you for granted. I don't want to lose you as a person, even if we're not together. That line used to destroy me. The idea of being kept in someone's life in a smaller, more convenient role. This time, it didn't. I realized something important. He wasn't reaching out because he'd grown. He was reaching out because his life had gotten harder, and I'd always been the easiest fix. I didn't reply. Instead, I signed a lease on a small one-bedroom a few blocks from my sister's place. Nothing fancy. Clean, quiet, mine. I bought a cheap couch off Facebook Marketplace and ate takeout on the floor the first night, feeling more at peace than I had in years. Life got smaller and better. I cooked again, slept better, laughed without feeling like I was performing. Slowly, the story stopped being about him at all. About a month later, I ran into him at the grocery store. Total accident. Same aisle, same pause. He looked tired. Not dramatic, not broken. Just worn down in a way I hadn't seen before. Real life had replaced the curated version. He smiled like he wanted to say something meaningful. Maybe apologize, maybe reminisce, maybe check if the door was still unlocked. I nodded, polite and distant, and kept walking. That was it. No closure speech, no final conversation, no cinematic ending. And honestly, that felt right. I don't hate him. I don't wish him struggle. I hope he figures things out. I hope he learns that respect isn't something you joke about when you think it's guaranteed. As for me, I learned something quieter and more important. If someone can laugh about minimizing you when they think you're not listening, they've been doing it internally for a long time. You just happen to hear the honest version. Walking away wasn't revenge. Canceling payments wasn't punishment. It was alignment. He called me a roommate. I agreed. And roommates don't fund someone else's life while being told they don't matter.